So this is where we are living through the coronavirus stage. We're just about to go for our daily walk, which we're allowed to do. We're allowed to gather in 2 people, which means Jürgen and I. They've made it very, 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 very difficult to gather in groups here in Germany, but we are allowed to go out for a daily walk. And we live across the road from this caravan park, which is completely empty. And this building in front is owned by our friend Thomas, and it used to be the movie theatre in Ahrensee, which is the name of the village where we're staying. Back in the old days, in the communist days, people would come and spend their holiday times here, and it was a thriving little community. And then when Germany got reunited, the need for the Eastern Europeans to come on holidays in their own part of the world decreased. So off we go. It's a warm day today. It's 10 degrees, which is quite delightful since yesterday it was only 5. And it's springtime. This is the lake in the village. The village is called Ahrensee, and See is the German word for lake. It's a natural lake, and Jürgen tells me that he thinks it was formed during the ice ages. In fact, quite a lot of North Germany is got very sandy soil, and it's assumed that it was all underwater at some point in history. We're so lucky to be able to spend our isolation in such a beautiful place.
There's more than 2 people.
A few days ago, the whole of Ahrensee was plant bombed with pansies. It's so pretty, just to introduce the spring. The lake is said to be very deep, and there's a diving club that exists here, and they've sunk a boat down into the depths so people have something to dive around. The water is so crystal clear, and actually is not so cold. I was expecting it to be icy cold. It's such a beautiful walk into the village. I think we must be about 1 kilometre outside of town. There's some incredibly beautiful buildings here that were built in the more prosperous times of Ahrensee. It certainly is a cute little village. Another aspect of life in Germany is that people own these little plots of land with small little houses on them, and they're called Schreiber Gardens. You can't live there. They're kind of like holiday homes for the day, where you can come and have a picnic and escape your life if you live in an apartment building in the cities. Soon these trees will be covered in leaves. It's a beautiful thing to watch spring burst into action. At the beginning of the 20th century, there was a very colourful character who came to Ahrensee. His name was Gustav Naugle. One could say that he was one of the first hippies, but he was a naturalist. And this is the garden for Gustav Naugle. Hello.
Nein, this is Haus von Gustav Naugle.
This is Gustav Naugle. And this is a picture of when he bought the land. And This happened in 1909, 1910, and he had a lot of belief systems, much like the hippies of today.
Yeah, he was a natural apostle. He was a protector of the temple. He was an apostle for the freedom. He was a poet and a songwriter. He propagated the reform of the German writing. He was a health apostle, and he was a candidate for the German Reichstag in the 20s.
Watching what's left of Gustav Naugle's house. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by the Nazis in 1930. When he died, his family didn't want this land, so it just became a part of the community. Well, Gustav was a pretty crazy guy. He would wander around in the peak of winter wearing nothing. He was put in jail for being naked at some point in time. He was born in 1874, and he came here and he was in his early 30s and started this project. Gustav died in 1952. A man way ahead of his time. He was already proposing compost toilets and other such things in the 20s. Sadly, the Nazis took him into a concentration camp where they forbid him from writing, and he spent a couple of years there until the end of the war. So we continue our walk into the village. We're actually off to post a letter. Jürgen's today sending off for his dual citizenship. This sign talks of believing in love and hope, which is really what we've got now. To love each other and hope that we get through this coronavirus pandemic in a healthy, more functional way, and the society can learn. And this is the chapel. As you can see, there's no structure. It's just a little sacred space by the lake. And this is the main street of RNC. All the businesses are closed with the exception of the post office and the supermarkets. People are only allowed to gather in family groups or two at a time. It's very quiet, but then again, it's usually pretty quiet here in RNC. Here's Gustav Naugle. He always went barefoot, no matter what the weather. I don't know how anyone could humanly possible to walk barefoot when it's minus 15 degrees. There's the town square. Walking around the streets like Sunday. In Germany, everything closes on a Sunday, even the supermarkets, and everything feels very quiet. So each day we come for our walk feels like another Sunday. Another of the interesting buildings in RNC that were built by the wealthy. Villa Seeblick means view of the lake. It's a very beautiful day, clear, crisp. It's a perfect day for walking. Look, so big. It's a big tree. And here we are. Back again. Life living in the cold. You come in, you take off all your clothes.
Home sweet home.